What's up everyone? If you've seen my previous video about a haul that I recently had, I recently picked up some older Game Boys, so I thought it'd be an interesting video today to show you my cleaning process. Normally for these used consoles I like to clean them up and take them apart, just kind of clean up the insides, make sure all the buttons are working and everything like that. So today I thought that you guys might find it interesting to see what is in the inside of this teal Game Boy Color. We're going to take it apart and just really see the circuitry inside and just my whole cleaning process for these used Game Boys. So I guess let's get started. So these are the things that I normally have on hand when I'm cleaning up a console like this. I have my wet cleaning rag just to kind of clean up the screen. I have a toothpick just to get in those grooves that regular Q-tips can't reach. I have a little kit here full of like my tri-wing screwdriver and things to pry it open. I got this kit when I bought a Joy-Con repair kit to replace the drift on my Switch Joy-Con, and I also picked up this before I picked up the kit, and it's electrical contact cleaner, so it's safe for circuit boards and things like that. I tried that trick where you spray under the Joy-Con and you just clean it up and move around the joystick to prevent the drift. That didn't work, so I ended up having to buy this. It's nice to have all this stuff on hand just now, so then I can clean up a console like this. So let's look at the cover first. You can see that there's crumbs and it's just a dirty screen. So I'm just going to make little circles with a damp washcloth. You don't want it to be too wet, but just damp enough to kind of pick up any debris or residue. And it's really stuck here up at the top. I've just got to use my fingernail, kind of scrape around the bevels and clean up that. And just tiny little circles, pick up any dust or anything like that. Kids aren't going to clean up their consoles, and these things are just going to be in the closet for years and get all gross, so it's nice to just do a little cleanup whenever you get a used Game Boy. Kind of get around the edges there. I looked it up and it's not really recommended to use chemical cleaners like Windex. That can actually eat away at the screen, so that's why I just use a damp cloth. It cleans it up okay, but I'm sure there's product out there that is safe for electronical screens. You'll just have to do your research. So looking around the edge here, we can kind of clean around the faceplate, get the buttons. If a lot of times you can find gunk in this B&A, and this is where I will use a toothpick just to clean out the grooves. It doesn't seem like there's too much. Alright, I think we're ready to open this guy up. And Game Boy Colors aren't that hard to take apart. It's just 6 tri-wing screws. Did I say that right? Tri-wing screws? I don't know the proper terminology, but we're just going to undo them. You have these first 2 up here. Then you have these 2 side ones. And then there's 2 behind this battery cover here, underneath the batteries. You can find them right here and right here. And as you unscrew these guys, you want to make sure that your screwdriver is properly seated. You don't want to strip these out. They're not too hard to find, but it just sucks having to replace screws when you had perfectly good ones before. So you really want to press down as you undo them. There we go. Okay, we're good to open this up. Here's the inside of our Game Boy Color. You can see this ribbon is what attaches to the screen. We have a CPU right there. This is where our game loads, so you can clean up the pins easier once you take this back plate off. This is where our battery attaches. Overall, it doesn't seem too bad. There's our speaker right here. So I'm just going to spray the Q-tip. I'm not going to spray directly on the circuit board, but just the Q-tip itself with this contact cleaner. And we're going to clean up any dust that we find. Just normal wear and tear, nothing too bad. A couple things that you might want to clean up. Here's our sound volume. Sometimes it can get a little gunked up. Game Boy Colors are kind of notorious for this kind of sketchy power switch. we can actually take this power switch off, and it just moves this tab right here. So make sure to clean up around this tab because it can get kind of gunked up. I'm actually going to spray just a little bit here. Slide it up and down a couple times. Just really clear out any gunk because it's pretty fidgety. It's not that structurally sound. Alright, now you just kind of want to go around and clean up any stains or anything you see on the circuit board. You can see like down here there's some growtiness. Kind of clean that up. Probably a good idea to clean the springs on the battery container. You can see that they get a little rusted out. And right here's the other side. These actually don't seem too bad. This is where I usually will like bend them into shape if they get bent. Up here, the speaker can get a little dusty because it is exposed to the outside with the, you can see in the case it has the holes in it that the dust can get in through. So yeah, just kind of go through and clean up any gunky spaces. Another spot where you can get a lot of gunk is kids hold it on the side, so you can get a lot in these grooves right here, these bezels. Look, all that is from around the edges, from years of buildup. I'm noticing here the back of the battery case got a little bit of spillage. We'll just kind of try to wipe that up as best as possible. I mean, it's never going to be 100% factory clean, but we can do our best. Let's get this game where the game pins go. Clear those up. That'll help it read the games a lot better. I can't get a Q-tip in there, so we'll just kind of spray in there, let it dry. Now I like to flip over the circuit board and clean the buttons really well. You can see it's held on by 3 Phillips screws right here. And gently flip this over. Alright, we can just leave the ribbon attached to the screen. I don't mess around with behind here, this protective covering, but here are our buttons, and you can take this off, and it has slots for you to line it up with, so don't worry about getting it wrong when you put it back together. And then I just kind of like to clean up these rubber parts. A lot of the times, if your buttons feel sticky or mushy, there's usually some buildup here. These usually don't get damaged. They just get kind of gross over time, so you can clean them up. You can see all that gunk right there just from the A and B buttons. Now our D-pad, you can even see, that not good, not great. And the start and the start and select button, sorry. Now if we look at the circuit board itself, see? On the circuit board itself, this is where the buttons touch. And sometimes if they're dirty, it doesn't register your inputs that well. So I just kind of like to go over them, get all that gunk right there. Okay, and guys, that's pretty much it. I think we're good to put this thing back together. The most important thing is probably the buttons. That's really going to affect how your Game Boy functions, and you can really feel a difference when you clean up these buttons. So we're good to flip this back over, and we're good to place these back where they are. You can see it lines up with the pins. So it's pretty foolproof. You can't really mess it up trying to put it back together. I like to get right here. These are the spots that it touches the circuit board itself, these black spots. Clean those up. Just get any gunk. And you can see this has a small hole and a big hole. That way it lines up right here, so the A and B. Any gunk. It really makes a huge difference. Now just carefully fold this back over. Here's where you can really screw up the thread, so just be really careful getting it all back into place. The power switch goes on a certain way. You can see this little bump right here. That's going to go over this bezel, and that's what gives it the satisfying click on and off. Otherwise it just slides up and down. So you want to make sure that it's lined up okay, and you want the two parts to line up right here. You can see that, so then it lines up with this tab. So when you slide up, it's going to go over that bezel, and that is what gives it that like click, so you can confirm it's on and off. Just make sure it's aligned properly. Then I think we're good to put this back plate back on with the 6 screws. You just want to line up the springs in the battery to make sure that they don't get pinched off. And we're good to put the screws back in. And I think we'll test this out, so let's put in some batteries. I just bought these rechargeable ones from Amazon because if you grew up playing one of these, you know that these things can eat up batteries like no other. So you might as well invest in some good rechargeable ones. They're kind of expensive, but I think if you use them, they're worth it. All that's left to do is try this on for size. Works great! Well guys, that's what the inside of the Game Boy Color looks like. I hope you found it interesting. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have anything else you'd like to talk about, I'm all ears. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!